truly, I kind of long for the day that I could spend a day like I did a few decades ago as a young farmer, and working with my brother and working with our crew, and we'd be out and work all day and never have a disruption. You all remember those days? Never a phone call, never an email, a post, a tweet, any of those things, because you didn't have nothing to get it on, you know, and didn't have anything to send it on. But just think of how things have changed and how really and truly you go home at the end of the day. I know I would. I'd watch about 30 minutes of state news and about 30 minutes of national news, and I could depend on what I heard to be the truth. You could depend on that. You know, we live in a different world now, don't we? We've become really and truly a nation of skeptics, but it's because we have to. The things that you see on TV, you better not believe it all. What you read on social media, you certainly better not nail down to that very tight. And it's just become a time when it just makes you uneasy. Makes you uneasy to just like Wayne's talking about the things going on in Virginia right now. You hear so many different stories. You don't know what the truth is. It's far from it. But some things we know that are true. And we know that it is real and it is true to facts. And I know on my operation at home, I know it to be true at this time of the year. If I'm going to raise an apple and peach crop this summer, we better be out there pruning and trimming those trees and getting ready for a crop. And it's a long process. It's every tree every year has got to be trimmed. And that's one of the limiting factors that you have to your production is how much can you get trimmed and pruned and ready for the new crop. Same thing in your operations as well. Doesn't matter if you're a dairy or you're taking care of your herd, you're milking at least twice a day and doing all the things that go along with that. If you're a grain farmer, you're making headway right now, making sure all the equipment's ready to go. All the things at this time of the year that you need to be doing. Those are things that you know to be true. If you're a cattle or a livestock operator, you're out there feeding. You're checking cows every day right now. You know, you're starting into calving season. We know those things to be real and to be true. You know, it's with farming, it's just a process that we don't question. We know the right thing to do, and we're going to do that. Same way with our personal lives. Whether it's with your family, with your community, or with your church, when you're there, you know those things are real. Those things are a blessing to you. Those are joys that you're able to feel a part of and continue on. The community that I lived and was raised in is very dear to me. And it is where you live is the same way to you. But I know what's real in that community. I know what's that I can grab a hold to, I can gravitate to, and I can recognize the things that are not right and the things that we know that are just to be skeptical about. Same way with you. You're in your community. You know what you can depend on, and those things become essential to us as the air that we breathe every day. And I can say the same thing about Kentucky Farm Bureau. Same thing. The mission that we have to be the voice of agriculture, we know is the right thing to do. That is the things that we can nail down and be a part of. All the years that I've been involved in Farm Bureau, it's never crossed my mind that to doubt the things that we do for the right reasons that we do them. It's the betterment of our families, the betterment of our communities across the state, the betterment for our industry that we serve and work in every day. Things that we know that to be constant in our lives, things that we know that our organization needs for us to do right here. We're here today. We're here for the reason to hone our skills, hone our service that we can have in our county farm bureaus and to our state farm bureau. That's the reason we're here. 100 years ago, this organization got a start to be a voice for the farmers. That was our mission from the very beginning. That was a policy that was put in place many, many years ago, served us well all these years. The agriculture industry needed that. You've heard the story of here in Kentucky, how we got started, right here up the street in 1919 when we came together along with the Chamber of Commerce. And they realized the fact if we're going to be strong as the state and be strong in the urban area, we have to have a strong farm economy out there. They realized the need for that and help get that started. We knew it was the right thing to do then. We know it's the right thing to do now. Think about our ancestors, your parents, grandparents that were going in your communities door to door, farm to farm, asking for $5 to join an organization that was not even in existence yet in your county. And a $5 bill was as big as a saddle blanket in those days. Hard to think, I'm going to give you $5 and I'm going to do it again next year and the year after, and hope and pray and work that it is the right thing to do. And it was. And think where we are today, 100 years later. What would our ancestors thought about our meeting at the end of the day yesterday when we were able to celebrate, be able to share our profits with county farm bureaus that's worked so hard to help us get there? It was the right thing to do to get started. It's the right thing to do today to continue on that path. It's the precepts that were put in place by Kentucky Farm Bureau in those days still work today. It's the reason that we know that we're here. It's the generations that's to come will really experience the things that we have experienced over the years that we've been here. The centennial year that we talked about and kicked off earlier, and you saw the video yesterday, why Farm Bureau? Very good slogan and a very good question. Why Farm Bureau? And we're using that to demonstrate to our membership that it is service beyond the farm. It is service beyond the community. It's service to the farms, it's service to the communities, but it also is service to beyond. It is what is relevant for the state of Kentucky. You know, it's you and our members that set our policy and that are so important to us. And the grassroots effort is what's able to take us to the levels that we are. It's how we get into every office we need to in Washington, D.C., every office that we need to in Frankfort without a PAC. We don't have a PAC. We don't have to pay our way in because it is a grassroots effort and it is recognized as that. And we and you are to be commended for being able to continue forward on that. The board sets our priority issues after we finish that session, as you know, in December of the delegate body. The board took up action and set our priority issues. You're going to be getting a copy of those later today, I think, aren't they? We're going to have it, mate. If you may already have it, but it's a nice pocket size, front and back, state on one side, national on the other side, fits right in your pocket. Terry has one right there. Fits right in your pocket that you can have, and the only problem with that is every time you're in a meeting and every time you get in a conversation about priority issues or whatever Farm Bureau is working on or being asked, it's not in your pocket, is it? It's somewhere else. And you think, where is it? I can't find it. Well, let me tell you what to do. Get that thing when you get it. Everybody's got a phone. Take you a picture of one side, take you a picture of the other side, put it in the file where you know it is, and it's with you from then on. When you get in a conversation, whether it's at the store, the feed mill, or church, or wherever you hear things going on being talked about, just make sure you're able to stay on target with what the conversation is. I encourage you to do that. The issues that are coming up in Frankfurt right now are certainly very important. Be honest with you. I think, and I may be wrong, Jeff he'll be on the program he and Kyle and others a little bit later today talking about the issues, but my opinion, it's kind of low expectations out of this legislative session that's going on right now. They're going to pass some things, but they're going to leave a lot on the table, I assure you. For the past year or two, last year they were so fighting so much, and it was such a fiasco. And there's just a lot of people got their hand burnt, and I just don't expect a lot of things to happen. But that doesn't mean that we're not there. It doesn't mean that we're not talking about the issues that are very important to us, and the ground is being set right now. If not accomplished this year, we're certainly getting it ready for the long session or the bigger session that comes up next year. And the fruit may not be ripe this session for it, but we're getting there, and hopefully we're going to be able to get some things done. Anytime you're heading into a gubernatorial race and you're headed into a presidential race and all that's already in play, it's hard to get things done. People don't want to take positions where you might think they need to be. One of the things that we're talking about, and we were all in Frankfurt a week or so ago, going from office to office and making some comments, and one of the things that we're talking about is some rural development. It's being talked about right now. Economic Development Cabinet is talking about some rural development issues and wanting to run maybe a bill on some economic development. And we're right there talking about that because it is one of our priority issues. And the way we see it, the legislature in the past put together some tax packages, some incentive packages that kind of missed the target. They're still in place, they're still there, but they missed the target. We went through a time when we were putting in place incentives and putting in really and truly industrial sites in almost every city in Kentucky. And tax incentives were put in place, and we all knew there wasn't going to be a factory coming to every town in Kentucky. That was not going to happen. Missed the target. It was good campaign rhetoric at the time, but we knew that wasn't going to happen. It did in some places and was very effective. But for the most of the part, in the most communities, it missed the target. We think it makes sense that if we're going to do some economic development in Kentucky, that we ought to do it in smaller bites. And there's no better place than in the agriculture part all across the state of Kentucky. We think if we can take some of the tax money that we use, and if we can invest that in being able to create another job or another 2 or 3 jobs and be able to expand maybe some of our operations across the state of Kentucky, that is about as good economic development over a long haul as anything you can get. So we're kind of preaching that message, and it's been accepted and being talked about. And we've got some key leaders in the legislature and really and truly in the state that's wanting to talk about that same language. And we think it is very important. We're going to continue to do that. This coming up next year is the census year. And we've been involved on a committee. We've been asked, Farm Bureau's been asked to serve on a committee to help make sure we get everyone counted. Everyone counted in Kentucky, and it is an important reason. For the most part, it's how we determine our representation, both in Frankfurt, both in Washington. All that boundary lines are set based on that census. Numbers are based on that census. If we're going to ever have equal representation that we need across the rural parts of Kentucky, we got to get everybody counted. Not only is it important for that, but there's dollars tied to that. States that have, they get allocated money over that whole period based on the amount of people that are counted. So we gotta focus, and we're going to ask you when the time comes to take a part. Make sure everybody in your county gets voted, gets counted in the vote. It means a whole lot to us. The other thing that we're talking about in Frankfort, we will be talking in Washington about, because we're headed that way just in a few weeks, is broadband service, and we talk about that all the time. And when we're in meeting with either the industry or with legislators, and we talk about the service and how important to us, we want to make sure we've got it right. We want to make sure that we're asking for the right thing. We think it is important to be able to have high-speed internet service all across the state of Kentucky. A lot of money has been applied, as you know, trying to get that done. Kentucky Wired is kind of a political football, and they're continuing to, it costs a lot of money to do that. And they just kind of deal with it. You got the urban area, and then you got that ring around that they call that the middle mile. They're trying to get all that done. We live out here in the last mile, and we think that's where the service needs to be just as well. Some of the most important economic development that can be done is farming some of the very valuable land out there in that far reach of the state of Kentucky. If we're going to be able to run our equipment, new modern equipment that uses satellite, uses GPS, we gotta be connected. I'm going to ask you, how many have a computer, laptop, or an iPad in your home? You might not be the one to use it, but how many have it in your home? About everybody is connected with the equipment. You have purchased that. You have bought that. You're ready to go. Almost every hand in here went up. How many of you feel like the service you're getting is not where it needs to be? How many thinks it's not where? Look at that. Look at that. Bob, you live here in Jefferson County. It's not there, is it? It's not there. I live in Nancy, not that I've got cable TV and I've had it for years. I've had internet service on that system, and it gets worse every year. It gets worse every year. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to stand up and tell the folks what's going on. When we talk to the industry, they want to tell us how good they're doing, and they're spending a little money and bringing 10 more people online, and you know, we're good. We're glad to get that. But what about all these people you're getting in? You run a line in, but you're not servicing it. You're not. We got to be able to tell that. Now, we believe in that you can't legislate everything in. We know that. But we've got to be able to tell the leaders in the state, and we got to tell the leaders in Washington right now, listen, this is what we're hearing. This is what you're going to be hearing. Senator McConnell, you're going to hear about this, you know. It's our job to be able to tell he and Congressman Rogers and those folks that are in positions to be talking to those industry leaders as well. Hey guys, you got to take your game up. If you're going to sign up to take the service in Jefferson County, you got to cover it. You got to cover it. No excuse. We think it's so simple, and when we talk to industry, they said, yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. We got electric line running to every home in Kentucky. We got to get the electric folks and the internet providers together and use the same pole, be able to use the same stuff. And so I'm asking you to take the subject up wherever you are, Because we got to get our rural electric co-ops, and some of you may be sitting on those boards right now. It's rural people, it's us. And we've got to step up and say, hey, we got to deliver the service. If we'd use this delivering electricity back in the 30s and 40s at the same pace, we'd still be in the dark. And I'm asking you to help us on that. That's the voice. Our mission is to be the voice of agriculture. This is one of our needs. This is a need. We're gonna talk about it. I hope you agree with that. There's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about in Frankfort, but there's a lot of things. We don't stop there. We're taking these subjects to Washington too, and that's exactly where we need to continue on. I'm so thankful. We're going to have about 350 people go with us the last week of February on the congressional tour. Many of you are going. Many of you county presidents can't go. I understand that. We've all got issues that we have to deal and work with. But you need to be sending representation. You need to be sending somebody from your county, whether it's a young farmer, young farm couple, someone that's interested off your board. You need to have them up there representing the people in your county, they're going to have an opportunity to sit and have breakfast just like you did this morning with their congressman and with their senator, and have an opportunity to say, here's what we need in my community, here's what we need in my county. So if you haven't made plans this year, I understand, but you need to work that into your budget for next year and continue on being able to do that. We're going to talk about trade. Trade continues to be a big issue for us in Kentucky. It's a major component of what we do and how we market it. The things that we grow in Kentucky has to move on, and we have to be able to be a player in that. The role that we play at American Farm Bureau is so vital, and the support that we give, and it's a time when folks like Wayne and I can sit on committees, talk about how important trade is. I want you to know that we take that very seriously and will continue to do that. Everywhere we go, farm labor is what's being talked about. Everywhere we go, who am I going to get to help me on my farm? How am I going to be able to access this labor source that's so well needed? We think that's one of the things that comes with all this conversation going on right now in Congress about the wall, whether we build the wall, how we get the wall built. We take it a step farther. We take it kind of away from the wall. The wall and the conversation around the wall leads to the conversation about immigration. And we want to take that issue and take it to a level that allows us to say immigration is what's going to probably help us be able to get this farm labor situation completed. So if the means of all that comes by the virtue of being able to build a wall, being able to get some focus on the immigration part of it and getting the labor force here, it'll be good. That will be a great thing. If we can fill out this immigration issue that we have. It's prime time on the news right now, of course, and depending on which station you watch, you get which slant you get about the wall. You can go through it pretty quick, channel to channel, and get and somewhere, I guess, find the middle. I don't know, but it does allow us to be able to talk about the conversation. We like H-2A in Kentucky. It fits us well. We don't necessarily have to have the workers here and continue them here year after year after year without the break in it. So we can make that work, and a lot of the crops that we grow here in Kentucky, we like that, but there needs to be some change in that. So it will give us an opportunity, hopefully, to be able to get some change in H-2A. If not, we think Congress missed it bad a year or so ago when they brought up the immigration bill and couldn't move it. And we were so disappointed on that because it allowed nothing to happen. And if we can't get something going in immigration, we do think that there is a chance that we might be able to get something maybe moving again on a little bit of upgrade and reform on H2A. We're certainly going to be able to talk about that. Again, I just so pleased with this conference and the way things have gone. We talked about yesterday, Todd brought up the 6 cornerstones and made it really, you saw that on screen. Todd made a good presentation about the cornerstones. The number one piece in that for us, we all have our things that we think are so important to us. Each of us have something that we think is important to us. I think probably the one that's the most important to Kentucky Farm Bureau, certainly to me, is the advocacy piece. What better thing that can we give to our members than to be that voice for them, to be that advocate for them, whether it's in the courthouse, Frankfort, or in Washington. That's what's expected of us. That's what we're going to continue to do. The education part is continually to be important. Education, the largest section of certainly in our policy book is education. How we educate our children, our grandchildren, ourselves. Conferences just like this is an educational part for each of us right here. How we work with industry to bring on new technology, all those are educational parts that we want to be involved in. Kentucky Farm Bureau, we think you expect us to do that. We're going to continue on. Insurance is a very important piece, as you know. Our flagship member service, it's our partner. We talk about it all the time. We move together. Insurance and Federation move together now. Such an important part. We insure not only the liabilities of all of our members, but we insure their assets, and we insure their lives, and we insure their everything that we have on their homes, their autos, their farms. It's certainly an important piece and couldn't be more important. We serve. The service that we give to our communities, certainly important. It is a cornerstone. The leadership, this is leadership here today, that we're trying to develop our leadership in the grassroots area. All those things are certainly the cornerstones that are important to us, but we could not do it without our partnerships. Our partnerships are important to us every day. How we work certainly with Department of Education, but agriculture, with all the agencies that we work with, GOAP, Extension, the commodity groups that we want to partner with really on a daily basis, and our legislative leaders and our elected officials. All those are partners that it takes for us to be able to move forward. We commit that we're going to continue to do that. We know that that's what you expect out of us, and we're going to continue to do that. You know, we're talking about an issue right now. We're moving forward on it right now, and we don't have any answers. But I want you to know that we are working hard, and that's on association health plans. You have asked us to look at that. We have committed to look at that. Drew and John have put together a committee that they're kind of both co-chairing and looking at ways that we might be able to offer something to our membership. Be honest with you, we could do something pretty quick, as other organizations have already done, and that is just sign a contract with a provider that's already in the business, whether it be Anthem or Humana or what you name the healthcare provider. We could probably do that, sign a contract, offer our membership list to them, and there you go. We don't think that's the answer. We already have a contract with Anthem. We already offer a plan that's connected to Farm Bureau. It's already in place. Many of you may have that. Anthem is not, they've told us many times, we're not interested in cannibalizing what we already have to do something else. Doesn't make sense. And we see it that way too. If we were to do something, it would be something that we actually did, that we actually it would be on Farm Bureau. We would have full control of it and be able to manage that through a third-party managing firm that could maybe do something. We don't know that we can offer anything any better than what's already out there. So those are the things we're looking at. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it in a meaningful way, or we don't really see the need of jumping in that. The big problem is once you nail down, you say, hey, we can make this work, and then that quick, somebody signs a executive order and changes the whole program on you. So there you sit. You've invested a lot of time, effort, and money. It takes a lot of money to commit to putting millions of dollars that we would have to put up to commit to this, and then someone change it overnight on you. I'm just telling you, we're looking at it in earnest. We're looking at that. We're excited about the other thing that we're doing around the state of Kentucky, Bluegrass Senior Living. We don't think there's a better member service out there anywhere than to be there, and at a time when your relative or someone that's in need of assisted living that has been a true member of this organization for their whole life and been a really one that helped grow this organization. We feel like we need to be there to help at a time when it is most needed. So we're in progress right now, building one. The first one is already established in Somerset to serve that whole area right there. We're moving on pretty quickly and establishing the next location we're going to that gives us a service area in another part of the state. We think that is going to work well for our organization. We're going to be there for you or your relative when time comes to be able to do that. These are the things that we're working on. I hope you agree that we're going in the right direction. I hope you feel like we are, and you're part of that. I do want to say how much I appreciate working with my colleagues. You couldn't have picked better folks for us to work together with, and I appreciate it so much. Eddie and Sharon and Fritz on the executive committee, they're just superb people, great leaders. I work with them well, appreciate their friendship, appreciate their integrity, but I really appreciate the ability that they have to think through issues and help establish the direction we're going. I talked a little bit ago about we moved together, and we have two executive directors, CEO of the insurance company that are hooked up tight. And today's John's birthday. Say happy birthday, John. Happy birthday, John. He and Drew, came on board in October, hit the ground running. He just fit right up to us quickly, and appreciate the work that Drew's doing, friendship, and we all do. And I'm telling you, we have a really good team. I've got to also say how much I appreciate the assistance we have in the executive area there from our assistants. Rachel assists me, and along with Sarah and Paula and Kelly and all this team right here. We couldn't move without them. We stay on task, but they keep us on time, and that's really an important thing about that. I also want to mention real quick about your board of directors. Those are your board of directors. You elect those people. And I work with them every day. Maybe don't talk to them every day, but we work on, I'll talk to some of them every day. And we'll talk about issues. Eddie will talk some, Sharon will, Drew, others. But they do a wonderful job. You do a good job. These are smart people. They work hard. They love Farm Bureau. They have the same feelings that I've talked about here this morning. Would the board stand? Would you all stand and be recognized, please? Ones that are here today. If you're a board member, stand. Please thank you so much. These are great people. I don't have to tell you that. You know that very much. We also have a really good staff here at Kentucky Farm Bureau. They make us look good because they do good, and I appreciate them very, very much. This conference couldn't happen without a lot of work that they did. We recognized them yesterday, but I'd like for them to raise again. Both the insurance VPs of the insurance company, we work so closely with them and the staff of Kentucky Farm Bureau. Would all of y'all stand? Let us see where are you all over the building. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to thank you for allowing me to do what I love doing, and that's working for this organization, being able to make a difference in the industry that I really care for very much. Be honest, I'm a blessed man to be able to work and be able to do the things that you allow me to do, and I couldn't do it without really you allowing that to happen. I appreciate you so much. Anytime I can ever be of any help to you, please give me a call. You've got my number, my phone number. Just give me a call. I'll come. I'll do whatever I can. Enjoy the day. God bless you.